everybody, welcome to Elder Paths. I'm QT20 from the Art of Gamemastery, also known as Jak. We don't have my co-host Jon with us tonight, but hopefully we'll have them next week. If you know the drill for Elder Paths, we'll be playing my current favorite video game, figuring out how to convert that into our tabletop RPGs. We'll be looking at it, the dungeons, the monsters, the quests, the world building, and kind of see with the lens of a game master what we like, what we dislike, and what we think would be a good idea to how to incorporate that into your games. So, brief update. I did get the Sentinel set finally, but unfortunately I got the light one. Working on the medium still. Really liking Hercine's Jak because that added stamina recovery is amazing for the party group. And liking Spelunking Boots for now. I don't have much as far as Undaunted is concerned, but that boost definitely does reduce the cost of bone shields. Eventually I will have Necrotic Orb on my healing bar instead of my attack bar. So I'll have an Undaunted on both sides. So let's see what our Undaunted pledges are for today, since I need keys. Elden Hollow 2, Red Petal Bastion, and Volenfell. Okay. So let's queue up. Elden Hollow 2. Ooh, I like Volenfell, and really hard Red Petal Bastion. Alrighty. That was a very fast queue. Great. Where are we going tonight? Waiting on that DPS. Waiting. Yay! Oh. Elden Hollow 2. Okay. This is a perfect example of how to do a dungeon. You kind of just jump into a portal, and now you have no limits on what you can create for this dungeon. With good dungeoning, you usually got to kind of set the scene. You got to create everything that's going to go inside it ahead of time. You want to like kind of hint at everything. Oh wait, I'm thinking of, is this the same dungeon I'm thinking of? No, wait. Oh yes it is. Yeah, we're going to go into the Fire Realm, right? No? Am I thinking of a different one? This is a different dungeon. Darn. So with this place, it has a lot of rich lore before going into the, it's not the Fire Realm, it's the Shadow Realm that you're going to go to, which is, thematically speaking, I don't know, yeah, there's a few pop culture references I can think of off the top of my head. Going into the Shadow Realm, I have yet to do that in a tabletop RPG, so I'd really appreciate that someday. Either I need to throw one, or I need to play in someone's game where I can go into 5th edition's Shadow Realm, or what Pathfinder has for its equivalent. I wonder if there are any other tabletops that can have that going for it. If you guys can think of any, let me know. So we're just diving in here, barely doing any healing because our CP is probably super high. Yeah, we've got a 1500 in here. Gonna help us a lot. Which is fine for me. It gives me a chance to just buff and shield. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm taking damage. Oh, my heals though are just, they crit for an amazing amount. everybody talks about how this Sentinel is the best set, but I feel like it kind of is a constraint because in order to get the benefits, I have to stand in the effects, which is a great set idea in general. Summoning a creature that, I mean, I don't even know how to make a set like that balanced in a tabletop RPG. It's just wild if you think about it. Come on, Darkroot. What do we have to do to get Darkroot to come out? Am I doing something wrong here? Search for Bakara. Oh no, the quest in this dungeon requires us to do something. Elder Scroll players are stumped. You know, you throw in just a little tiny puzzle and then all of a sudden everybody's just like, oh, I don't know what to do. Before I forget. Tell me I don't. That's unfortunate. I was hoping I had an experience scroll or something, but I guess not. Okay, at least a basic healing tool or item or something. Okay, so Darkroot is such a great build-up, and then they're just a tank and spank. It's Elder Scrolls, your first boss is always kind of like a damage test to see if you're even ready to get in here. And the first bosses always end up being complete pushovers. So that's an example of, for tabletop RPGs, if you're going to test your party's DPS, this is a great measuring stick. There's nothing wrong with throwing a boss down like this, like a mini-boss, for your group, so you can kind of see how they're doing as far as like cohesiveness and what their damage output is. If you're playing with a bunch of power gamers and munchkins, you don't necessarily need to do this. But if you're playing with a lot of socialites and people who like to really like roleplay and play thematically, sometimes it's good to test where their DPS lies. Maybe you're playing with some new players and you're not sure what they can dish out, so this is an example of why Darkroot is great to kind of introduce the boss to your players, to see where they are. I really like those Thorn Golems. I want there to be a Thorn Golem so badly. Magic the Gathering had one, and I have constantly taken those Magic the Gathering cards and turned them into enemies in my games. Azra the Frightener. Okay, so if you want to experiment with frightened condition in the game that you're playing, Pathfinder for example, the frightened condition is pretty good as far as ruining your DCs, but it does not make you run away. I like to include with my frightened conditions on any of my spells to add that push effect or forced march. That kind of builds up. Now, I mean, if you're using a monster effect, I mean, if you're homebrewing a creature, give it some fun, cool abilities. Every time they frighten something, they should be able to kind of push them back. So I say go for that. It's homebrewing. Make them move, you know, as far away as they possibly can. Yeah, dude, I don't think I can heal you through that. His health bars just dropped way too quickly for me to do anything about it. Oh, ouch. Love this fight, it's such a slaughter fest. There's nothing wrong with the dungeon just having all the monsters in one spot and then the rest is exploration with no monsters. I love it. So I was talking about the limitations of a map. You just can go into this dark portal and there you go. You're no longer limited by the area that you're in. And you can totally change up the theme. I mean, look at that backlighting. That right there, I don't know how to draw that, but I want that in my games. That kind of, I want to say it's almost monochromatic. It's not entirely, but it's definitely dimmed down. You can see there's just only a select color scheme here. And then Merclite. What an epic name. Also though, he doesn't have a whole lot of cool mechanics. Just dropping down some AoE. Kind of feels like he's doing an avalanche ability. I really like, thematically, an avalanche ability. Okay, that's a cool mechanic. So the way I would recommend running that, if you want to put in some light schemes into your combat, is have some areas become illuminated and do a transition phase. So legendary action, the first round, put down some bright lights that your players are instantly going to be very wary of, and maybe even does just, I mean, it might be a little too confusing to do a bit of damage, but I would say like maybe just blinding light, and then quickly switch the lights out, and your players now need to stand in those locations. That would be a awesome fight mechanic that your players would probably really like. The way that mechanic was done in Elder Scrolls could use some loving, especially considering how Mirkwood is also a bit of a pushover again. So yeah, I think having a fight balanced between light and dark is just amazing, and it should be done way more often. Especially, as I said, I want to see more Shadow Realm stuff, and what with Halloween coming up, I think that spookiness is just right for your game. So maybe throw in a dungeon or a delve that has contrasting lights and darkness for the party to play with. This fight, I have said it so many times about throwing down a mage. Mage fights are some of the hardest ones to coordinate because your mage bad guy gets ganked really quickly. Because if you have that one spellcaster against the whole party, they're going to get stomped. So make sure that they're quickened and give them some kind of quickened spellcasting so that they can cast 2 spells. Really shake your players up with that instantly dropping 2 spells. That guy was such a pushover, and he had help, so you could probably make that fight more interesting if you're running a tabletop by having those guardians maybe shield the boss. So they have to be taken care of. Their life force maybe is shared or split. That would definitely change the dynamic of that fight. This guy is such an awesome boss fight. He's got so many different attacks, and I still got hit by them. And I even saw it coming and I rolled, and I still got hit by it. So being able to jump up and smash the ground, gorgeous attack. Absolutely love that. I just cannot dodge that attack. Am I just too close to it or what? So I didn't really get to see all of his abilities because obviously he was taken down really easily. The DPS here is certainly outshining the content that I'm trying to talk about here. So he's got kind of like a tail whip attack, which is great for positioning. The tail whip is kind of there to let any backstabbers know, so rogues in your parties that you're watching out for them, give them something to kind of dodge. that drop down attack is just amazing, and then dropping down area of effects. I think he even has a breath attack. I mean, that is kind of everything you want in a combat. So Bakahara is kind of like perfect example of a GNPC. She didn't outshine anybody in this fight. She kind of brought you down there, and you were talking to her all along the way. I love these kind of quests where there is an NPC in there who can kind of be a soundboard for what the players are seeing. You can describe the map, you can play out a really beautiful, gorgeous design map, but having a creature, a player, a DNPC in there, being able to communicate with the players about what they're seeing and their take on it, it can kind of help bring that dungeon to life. And then she didn't outshine, she wasn't even involved in any of the combats whatsoever. So that right there is a perfect example of how to put one of those into the story or into your quest, especially if you're going into the Shadow Realm. Nobody wants to go in there without a guide. I think she was kind of like perfect, like what you needed for that kind of thing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment really helps with the algorithm. Check us out on Sunday, our live stream. I know I said it before. We'll be talking about Guns and Gears. I am super excited to talk about it. We're probably going to break this up into 3 parts. There is so much to cover. Hope you guys to see you there on Sunday. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye now.